Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaks with Russian President Vladimir Putin over phone, discusses global issues, assures India's support to Russia's presidency of BRICS. US Republican election race kicks off in brutality-cold Iowa. First major test of whether Donald Trump's runaway poll lead will deliver an early knockout victory. Defense Minister says only military pressure will secure release of hostages as Hamas airs video purporting to show 2 Israeli hostages killed in captivity. India Open 2024 badminton tournament in New Delhi. Several top shuttlers, including India's HS Pranoy, Satvik Chirag, in action. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Russian President Vladimir Putin held a telephonic conversation on Monday. The two leaders reviewed progress on a number of issues of bilateral cooperation in follow-up to recent high-level exchanges between the two countries. They positively assessed the development in bilateral relations and agreed to develop a roadmap for future initiatives to further strengthen the India-Russia special and privileged strategic partnership. They also exchanged views on regional and global issues of mutual interest. Prime Minister conveyed his best wishes for Russia's presidency of BRICS in 2024 and assured of India's full support. The two leaders also agreed to remain in touch. Amidst the ongoing West Asia conflict, Israel has asserted that only military pressure on Hamas will force them to release hostages. Comments from Defense Minister Yoav Gallant came after Hamas released a new video that purportedly showed the dead bodies of 2 Israeli hostages killed in captivity. While Israel's defense minister was asked about the fate of hostages held by Hamas, he said that Hamas is carrying out psychological abuse.
The release of hostages will only happen as a result of military pressure. If we stop the military pressure, we will seal the fate to stay in Gaza because Hamas will not be motivated to discuss or talk to us. They only talk to us when they want something. The something now is ceasefire. The moment we give them ceasefire without a price, they won't talk to us.
While in the same video, a third Israeli hostage can be seen reading a script in front of a black-white wall saying that the two were killed by our own IDF strikes, referring to the Israeli military, but Israel has refuted the claims.
Itai was not shot by our forces. That is a Hamas lie. The building in which they were held was not a target and it was not attacked by our forces. We didn't know exactly their locations. We don't attack a place if we know there may be hostages inside. We know that we targeted locations that are close to where they were held captive.
Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant also said on Monday that the Israeli troops have been withdrawn from a division stationed at the southern part of Gaza. Earlier, as per the Israeli army, they have dismantled Hamas's military structures in the north and is looking forward to achieve the same goal in south by pressing on their ground operations in the southern cities of Khan Yunis and Rafah in recent weeks.
We have completed the implementation stages and we have moved on to the intensive stage that lasted for 3 months. This stage in the north of Gaza Strip has ended. In the south of the Strip, we will continue and it will end soon. In both areas, we will reach a moment that we will move to the next stages.
And now we get to updates on Russia-Ukraine clashes. Switzerland, in fact, has agreed to host a global peace summit on Ukraine at the request of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Monday. The Swiss government said that Switzerland will host a summit on the peace formula at the request of President Zelensky, with planning starting on Tuesday. Meanwhile, Zelensky said that we are open to all countries that respect our sovereignty and territorial integrity at the peace summit. He also insisted the presence of the Global South. Zelensky arrived in Switzerland to participate in the World Economic Forum in Davos on Monday.
Що стосується, по-перше,
As for the list of countries, we are open to all countries of the world that respect our sovereignty and territorial integrity. So you can make your own conclusion about who we invite. We would like the Global South countries definitely to be present.
країни Global South.
Speaking on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum, Belarusian opposition leader Svetlana said that Belarus is waiting for Ukraine to engage in official political meetings.
So actually we met with President Zelensky unofficially. It was a bilateral meeting, and I see that official Kyiv is rather cautious about officially communicating the democratic process of Belarus. It's understandable on the one hand, but we are waiting until they will be ready to meet with us.
Ukraine's military said that its air force destroyed a Russian plane and a command post in an operation on Monday. It added that Ukraine knocked down a Russian Berev A-50 surveillance plane and an Ilyushin 22nd Airborne Command Post in the Sea of Azov area. The aircraft tracking map suggests the planes were struck over the Sea of Azov, which lies to the east of occupied Crimean Peninsula. Kyiv did not disclose how the aircraft was struck. Hours after Ukrainian Army Chief Valery Zeluzny's statement, a Russian military blog posted the image of the shrapnel-riddled tail section of an Tu-22 standing on tarmac and lauded the crew as real heroes. South Korea, the United States and Japan in a call on Monday condemned North Korea's launch of a solid-fuel intermediate-range ballistic missile a day earlier. Now, according to the State Department release, the three sides underscored that such actions are dangerous, irresponsible, and destabilizing to the regional and international security. It added that the missile launch violated multiple UN Security Council resolutions. Pyongyang fired the solid-fuel intermediate-range ballistic missile on Sunday. Meanwhile, in another controversy, South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol has criticized North Korea's move to define the South as a hostile country. He said the move showed Pyongyang's anti-national and ahistorical nature. Yoon vowed that provocations will be met with its own response on a multiplied scale. Earlier, Kim Jong-un called for a constitutional amendment to change the status of South Korea to a separate state. In a speech to the Supreme People's Assembly, North Korea's rubber-stamp parliament, Kim warned that while his country does not seek war, it did not intend to avoid it. According to the state media, 3 organizations dealing with unification and inter-Korean tourism will shut down. The 2024 U.S. presidential primary kicked off on Monday night with Iowa, a Midwestern state holding the Republican caucuses in extreme cold weather. The first major test of Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis against front-runner Donald Trump. For the first time since he lost in 2020 re-election bid, the former U.S. president, who is being prosecuted in 4 criminal cases, will face voters. Trump is expected to win the Midwestern states' first in the nation contest as he bids to oust Democrat President Joe Biden in November. Caucus participants will listen to speeches on behalf of candidates before writing their preferred name on a piece of paper and submitting their vote. Political tension was running high in the Comoros on Monday, with violent incidents reported one day after the presidential vote. Comoros kicked off its first round of a presidential election on Sunday to select the national leader from among 6 candidates, including incumbent President Azali Assoumani, for the next 5 years. Supporters of the 5 opposition candidates have accused electoral authorities of delaying voting in their electoral strongholds. The result of the final, in fact, the first round, is expected sometime this week. Provisional results may be announced on Monday by the country's Electoral Commission. If no candidate wins more than 50% of the votes, the 2 candidates with the highest number of votes will proceed to a runoff round on February 25th. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk said on Sunday that he expected presidential and opposition support the new government's judicial reform, separating the function of Justice Minister and General Prosecutor. Speaking to reporters after the meeting with President Andrzej Duda, Tusk said that he had offered the Justice Minister his full support in making the prosecutor's office independent. Duda condemned the dismissal of the state prosecutor on Monday, escalating a conflict between the head of the state and the new government.
I would like it very much for the President and the opposition to work together with us on the bill that will make the Polish prosecutor's office independent from the politicians. Maybe it will sound a bit brutal, but it is in the opposition's interest, and it is in the President's interest to make Poland's prosecutor's office and Polish judicial system independent from the government and politicians.
U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin was released from the hospital on Monday, 2 weeks after he was admitted for complications following prostate cancer surgery. Austin, who had been hospitalized since January 1st, will perform his duties remotely before returning full-time to the Pentagon. On January 14th, White House National Security spokesman John Kirby told media that Austin's doctors think he may need additional care. Austin said in a statement that he was grateful for the care he received and thanked the medical personnel who tended to him and all who sent their well wishes. A volcano that erupted in southwest Iceland twice in less than a month spewed lava for a second night on Monday, although volcanic activity had eased since eruption. Molten lava flows reached the outskirts of Grindavik around noon on Sunday. The town had been evacuated and there was no immediate danger to the people. The crack in the earth's surface that opened close to Grindavik on Sunday was no longer active on Monday, and lava production from the larger fissure north of the town was decreasing. Meteorological office said that new cracks might appear within Grindavik in the next few days. It was the second eruption on the peninsula of Reykjanes in the 4 weeks and the fifth since 2001. In fact, 2021. Let's take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across the world. Now, farmers and their tractors rumbled towards Berlin from every corner of Germany on Sunday ahead of a giant protest demanding a rethink of plans to tax the farmers more. The protests are expected to draw 3,000 tractors, 2,000 trucks and 10,000 people from around the country and will cap a week of national unrest that has put further strain on Chancellor Olaf Scholz's coalition as it grapples with a budget mess and rising far-right forces. Plows machine deployed in Colorado after heavy snow filled the streets of the U.S. Recently, most of the United States is gripped by an Arctic blast on Monday in northern states and Texas, and potentially dampening turnout in Iowa, where voters will cast the first ballots for a Republican candidate in November's presidential race. The dangerously frigid weather is expected to linger throughout the day, hitting the Midwest hardest and freezing rain across the southern and mid-Atlantic states. Heavy rain buffeted Brazilian city and killed at least 12 people. Heavy rains has flooded streets of capital of Brazil, Metro line, bringing down trees and causing landslides. Rio de Janeiro's mayor, Eduardo Paes, announced a state of emergency while President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva's government offered federal support. The stars are out and shining brighter than ever at the 75th Emmy Awards taking place in Los Angeles. This year's Emmy will be boasting a recreation of the iconic conveyor belt chocolate scene from 1952 sitcom serial I Love Lucy. The show is bringing out stars as Joy Sundin, Ken Jeong and Padma Lakshmi, who arrived in their best fashion to celebrate TV's biggest night. We're heading for a short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Historic day for both India and Argentina as they ink agreement for lithium exploration and mining project. Jazz legends celebrate life and legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. with a concert. In women's hockey, India take on Italy in the final group match to stay on course to Paris 2024.
Stops, where information shapes our reality. One app stands out, helps you stay ahead of time. Introducing the DD India app, your gateway to a world of news right at your fingertips. Your most trusted source of news goes global, goes digital. Explore a world of options, top stories, live updates, in-depth analysis and more. Stay informed wherever you are. Real-time alerts keep you ahead of the curve always. The DD India app, connecting you to the world one story at a time. Download now and explore the world of knowledge, insights and authentic information.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live and I'm Preeti. Let's get you more updates. India is resolved to strengthen the armed forces and ensure ex-servicemen welfare as the nation celebrates 76th Army Day on Monday. Marking the occasion, a military and combat display event, Shaurya Sandhya, in fact, was organized at Lucknow Cantonment in India's Uttar Pradesh as part of the 76th Army Day celebrations. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh attended the event. More in this report.
Indian Army celebrating 76th Army Day with unwavering resolve and commitment to safeguard the territorial integrity of the nation. The Army Day was celebrated with a grand parade in the North Indian city of Lucknow. Addressing the event, India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh stated that the Indian Army is now furnished with contemporary weaponry and there has been an augmentation in the representation of women.
कई वर्षों से थल सेना दिवस मनाया जाता रहा है। इस परंपरा में हमने यह बदलाव किया कि माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के विजन से अब आर्मी डे दिल्ली से बाहर दूसरे शहरों में भी आयोजित किया जा रहा है। इसी प्रोग्रेस की श्रृंखला में देश यह भी देख रहा है कि किस प्रकार से हमारी सेना लगातार नए और आधुनिक हथियारों से सुसज्जित हो रही है। हमारी सेना ड्रोन्स, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस से संचालित वेपन से सुसज्जित है। हमारी सेना में नारी शक्ति का प्रतिनिधित्व बढ़ रहा है।
The theme for this year's Army Day is Year of Technology Absorption, a theme that underscores the Army's focus and efforts to leverage technology as a catalyst for transformative change. The Chief of Army Staff General Manoj Pandey reviewed the parade and presented gallantry awards. Chief of Defence Staff General Anil Chauhan and other senior military personnel also attended the parade. General Pandey acknowledged the Indian Army's versatile roles, including border protection, counter-terrorism and humanitarian operations.
उत्तरी सीमाओं पर हमारी सेना किसी भी स्थिति से निपटने के लिए पूरी तरह तैयार और सक्षम है। उत्तरी सीमाओं पर अपनी क्षमता को विकास करने के लिए हमने कई ठोस कदम उठाए हैं। हाल ही में इमरजेंसी प्रोक्योरमेंट के प्रावधानों के जरिए हमने कई आधुनिक उपकरणों की आपूर्ति की है, जिसमें नीश टेक्नोलॉजी के लैस अस्त्र शस्त्र भी शामिल हैं। सीमा क्षेत्रों में क्रिटिकल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को विकसित करने की दिशा में खास ध्यान दिया गया है और इसमें अच्छी प्रगति भी हुई है।
India celebrates Army Day on January 15 every year to commemorate the achievements of the first Indian Commander-in-Chief of the Indian Army, General K.M. Cariappa. On this day, General Cariappa, who led Indian forces to victory in the 1947 war, took over the command of the Indian Army from General Sir F.R.R. Butcher, the last British Commander-in-Chief in 1949, and became the first Indian Commander-in-Chief of independent India. The parade featured 6 marching contingents and a military band with 6 brass bands and 4 pipe bands from different regimental centers. 23 foreign service attaches from 19 countries attended the parade, which was also witnessed by veterans, NCC cadets, school children, serving soldiers and their families. A flypast by the Army aviation helicopters was held. Army's motorcycle display team Daredevils enthralled the audience with 35 motorcycles by performing stunts. A team of 8 paratroopers also showcased a combat free fall as they jumped out of a Dhruv helicopter, deployed their parachutes and maneuvered down to land on the ground.
India celebrated the 76th Army Day, where the entire nation commemorated the bravery and valor of the soldiers of the Indian Army in protecting the nation and safeguarding its freedom, sovereignty and integrity with their sacrifices. In Lucknow, with camera person SP Dubey, Akshay Dongre, DD India.
The Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra is being undertaken across India with the aim to inform people about the government welfare measures by ensuring that their benefits reach the targeted beneficiaries in a time-bound manner. The Yatra has reached Sonari Panchayat of Udhampur in India's Jammu and Kashmir. Locals welcomed the van and listened to Prime Minister Modi's recorded video message. During the program, the van made the villagers aware of the various government-sponsored employment generation, development and social welfare schemes. Various beneficiaries shared their progressive experience under Meri Kahani, Meri Subhani. The Yatra has also reached Sundarbani and Rajouri districts in India's Jammu and Kashmir. Locals welcomed the van and listened to Prime Minister Modi's recorded video message. During the program, the van made, again, the villagers aware of the various government-sponsored schemes and the benefits to them. Various beneficiaries also shared their progressive experience under Meri Kahani, Meri Subhani. We take a look at other stories making it to the headlines today from across India. On the occasion of the 76th Indian Army Day, Army Fair was organized in Shimla on Monday. The event was attended by Himachal's Governor and General Officer, Commanding-in-Chief of Army Training Command, where various skills were showcased by the defense personnel. Scores of tourists were disappointed after no snowfall was received in India's Shimla and Gulmarg. These areas, usually buzzing with tourists at this time of the year for skiing and other activities, has seen lack of snowfall affecting tourism industry this year. Jazz legends Herbie Hancock, Diane Reeves, accompanied by Herbie Hancock Institute of Jazz, honored and celebrated the life and legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. in New Delhi on Monday. The jazz legends showcased their musical prowess to highlight the powerful connection between India and the US and how Martin Luther's journey was deeply influenced by Mahatma Gandhi's principles of non-violence. In a significant development, the Indian government has signed an agreement for lithium exploration in Argentina. The agreement was signed between Khanij Bidesh India Limited or KABIL and the state-owned enterprise Camian of Catamarca province of Argentina on Monday. This is the first ever lithium exploration and mining project by a government-owned India company. KABIL will start exploration and development of 5 lithium brine blocks covering an area of about 16,000 hectares located in Catamarca province of Argentina. KABIL is also preparing to set up a branch office in Catamarca, Argentina for the project, the cost of which is about 2 billion rupees. Argentina is the part of lithium triangle along with Chile and Bolivia with more than half of the world's total lithium deposits. Speaking about the significant milestone, Prahlad Joshi said, and I quote him, "This is a historic day for both India and Argentina as we are scripting a new chapter in bilateral ties with the agreement signing between KABIL and Camian, a step which will not only play a crucial role in driving the energy transition for a sustainable future, but also ensuring a resilient and diversified supply chain for critical and strategic minerals essential for various industries in India." Getting you updates from the world of sports now. Some of the best badminton players from around the world, including top Indian shuttlers like H.S. Pranoy and Satvik Sairaj Ranki Reddy and Chirag Shetty, will be in action at the India Open 2024 badminton tournament, which starts at the K.D. Jadhav Indoor Hall in New Delhi today. The India Open, a BWF Super 750 event, is the second tournament on the 2024 badminton calendar after the recently concluded Malaysia Open. After their runners-up finish in Malaysia, Indian doubles duo of Satvik Sairaj Ranki Reddy and Chirag Shetty, currently number 2 in the BWF Badminton World Rankings, will look forward for another good run, this time at home. Commonwealth Games gold medalist Lakshya Sen and former world number 1 Kidambi Srikanth will be 2 other former champions eyeing a second title. Lakshya won the men's singles India Open title back in 2022, while Srikanth was triumphed back in 2015. However, world number 8, H.S. Pranoy, will be the only seeded Indian in the men's singles main draw at the India Open, which concludes on January 21st. With 2-time Olympic medalist P.V. Sindhu still regaining fitness after an injury layoff, India will be without representation in the women's singles at the New Delhi meet. On to FIH Hockey Olympic qualifiers. The Indian women's hockey team will take on Italy in their final group game today in the race for qualification for the Paris Olympics. India have 1 win, 1 loss under their belt till now and are at the 3rd position in the 4-team pool. On Sunday, they registered a 3-1 win against New Zealand in their second Pool B match. A win will only be useful if other results lean India's way, and with New Zealand taking on the US in other game, it just might come down to goal difference, making both getting maximum goals and denying any to the opposition crucial. Argentine Lionel Messi retained the FIFA Men's Player of the Year trophy on Monday, beating Manchester City's treble-winning Norwegian striker Erling Haaland and France's Paris Saint-Germain forward Kylian Mbappe to the award. Messi, who also secured the men's award in 2022 after guiding Argentina to the World Cup victory, clinched the League One title with PSG along with Mbappe following that success before moving to Major League Soccer team Inter Miami. Messi edged Haaland in tiebreaker after both were on 48 points each after voting by a global panel of national team coaches and captains, selected journalists plus fans online. The tiebreaker was whoever had more first place or 5-point scores from the votes of national team captains. That category was 107 to 64 for Inter Miami forward. However, Messi was not present to collect the trophy. That's it in this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and also Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.